I have full confidence that you will be able to do this, but I'm just going to explain. If you want to go on without listening, that's fine, but I just want to clear some things up. So for the first one, it's the Roman numeral I right here. It says, please circle all the following that apply. It says, please circle the 3 main parts of the animal and plant cell. That'd be 1 point each. So how many circles should you make in these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How many should you make? Yes. 3. Okay. And yes, I realize this says F right here. That should say G, or sorry, H. Don't worry about it. Just circle the 3 main parts of all cells. Got it? Okay, that's a circle one. If you are using the Chromebook and you would like to make a nice, neat circle, you can go down to Shapes and click Insert Ellipse and do this. And that is pretty nice. You can circle the letter or whatever. So if you want to circle the letter, it just looks like that. Okay, whatever. Or you could just draw it using drawing. All right, then you move down to Roman numeral number 2. Use the numbers from the cell diagram and match them to their organelles. Then match the letters of the organelles to their functions on the bottom. So you need to put a letter here and a letter here. Got it? Use the numbers from the cell diagram and match them to their organelles. So now I realize there's no 3, right? So it says 1 through 15, right? But there's really only 12. There's 1, 2, no 3. 4, 5, no 6. 7, 8, 9, no 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That is by design, okay? So there's no 3, 6, or 10. I took out some things that were not very clear and things we didn't really talk about, okay? So number 1, here's how you do it. You're like, all right, I go find number 1 over here. Where's number 1? Oh, number 1 is right here. Number 1 is pointing at this structure here. What is that structure there? I got to look. Is it chloroplast, cytoplasm, yada, yada, yada? Oh, I think it's letter Z. I would type letter Z in there. Is letter Z an option?
No.
No, it's A through L. Okay, so it's not letter Z. Okay, you need to find the letter that it is. Then there's kind of 2 schools of thought. You could go all the way down and do all 12 of those, excuse me, and then go down here and go with their functions. Or maybe just maybe, you want to go top to bottom. So maybe you want to go, all right, I know that number 1 is letter Z, and I know letter Z is the control center of the cell. So there, I'm completely done with letter Z and number 1. Does that make sense? Okay, it's really up to you in your test taking skills. So, and also, if you don't understand one or you're not sure, you can always skip it and come back. Okay, then on the next page, please code out this sequence. Okay, so you have to below. So I want to do something like this. I want to make a box. So you don't have to make a box, people. I'm just making a box. I'm telling you where to put it. So if you are doing this online, you can type it. What's the opposite of T? What's the opposite of A? What's the opposite of G? What's the opposite of C? What's the opposite of T? Okay. Otherwise, you can just draw it or write it. Does that make sense? You are writing its base pair, not matching it. So don't put T below T. There you go. I just gave you an answer. Don't put A below A. Does that make sense? You have to put its base pair. We talked about this. What goes with what? Then, this is one we talked about on Monday and Tuesday of this week. Answer one of the following in complete sentences. So you have to answer one of them. Did you read that? One of these. 1 or 2. This needs to be how many sentences? 4 to 5. Okay? It says you can draw a picture to take up one of the sentences. So, in theory, if you draw a picture, you could only write 3 sentences if you wanted. So you can either talk about diffusion or osmosis. We talked about both. You saw videos about both, and I talked about both. So pick one. If you do both of them, you want to do both of them, that's fine. I will take the higher score, I'll take the score from the one you did best on. So let's say you type about both of them. Let's say you type yada, yada, yada here, and you type blah, blah, blah here. Okay, now obviously don't do that. I would take the higher score. Let's say, oh, you got a 4 on this one and a 5 on this one. I would take the higher score, and then this would be extra credit. Make sense? So if you do both, there's nothing wrong with doing both. You can't get hurt by doing both. Okay? Questions? I'm right here. If you have questions, you can raise your hand or come up to me. I'll be walking around making sure. Yes, people that are on Chromebooks, I can tell if you're cheating. I literally can see your computer screen. So don't do that. Not that you would, but okay? All right. Have at her. We're going to finish this by the end of today. So